Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Expert Dog Training. We are going to go over e-collars today. So I just wanted to show you Lou. He's very sweet. He is a toy Aussie corgi mix it's a designer breed called an Augie. He is available for adoption, and he is seriously the sweetest dog in the world. He will just sit here in your lap and snuggle his head in your neck and lay there the entire day. He's very happy. You go, boy. He is also extremely smart. Like, it just shocked me how smart he is. Not that I thought he wouldn't be, but the level at how quick he caught on to all the commands was just incredible to me. So, little Louie, call him Lou Bow Wow Waffles. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're welcome. He is available for adoption on our website, experttraining.org. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about e-collars, and I have one with me. I'm going to put little Louie away for a few minutes in his kennel. Good boy. And I'm going to go over with you the e-collar. So there are several different types of e-collars that are out there. So when you hear a trainer talk about an e-collar, we are talking about a specific one. Most trainers have collars that they hate and collars, that they love. So for me, I personally love the Mini Educator and this brand. They have several different ones. It's not the Mini Educator, but it's still the Educator. So you can go bigger, you can go a little bit smaller to the Micro Educator or to the 1200. So this is a 300 unit. When I'm talking about an e-collar, I want you to know that I don't approve of or agree with or use any collars with electrical shock in them. So if I say e-collar, I'm talking about electric because it turns on and it plugs into the wall to charge. I'm not talking about electric because it sends a shock to the dog. I don't believe in that. I don't think that that's necessary. I believe that with some dogs, especially dogs that have spinal issues or dogs that have longer necks, say Dobermans, Corgis, Dachshunds, any type of a dog that is prone to spinal issues, it's very important not to use a collar that sends an electrical shockwave, because on any dog, let alone those dogs, the shockwave can actually damage the pathways in which nerves are sent in the spine. So we don't use those. However, what I do like is a e-collar. So this is again, this one's a Mini Educator, and it has prongs on it. These are nickel. You can also get ones that are hypoallergenic, but these prongs actually just send a twitch to the muscle that sits right here. And so it's a very large muscle on the dog, something that you put down lower on their neck. The collar actually goes above it, and I'll show you that on Louie in a few minutes. But this sits like right here, and it doesn't go over their trachea. It doesn't go on their spine. It just sits on this muscle. And what it does is it's actually a certified TENS unit. So a TENS unit, if any of you have ever had physical therapy, then you would know what a TENS unit does, or used one in physical therapy. But essentially, all it does is just stimulate that muscle to wake it up and help it work better, things like that. There's no pain associated. I always have my clients feel this before I put it on any of the dogs. And you don't have to be scared. I do it on myself first to show you, because it doesn't hurt. I wouldn't put anything on a dog that I wouldn't put on myself. And I say that honestly. I love these dogs. I'm here to help build their confidence, not break it down. So, and also not to cause them pain. So basically what this feels like for them is it just kind of stimulates that muscle a very little bit. Some humans wouldn't even feel it. To the dog, when they feel it, sometimes we wouldn't even feel it because our threshold can be higher sometimes. So all it is, it just goes like this and shakes that muscle. And it's just like a tap on the shoulder to get their attention. Hey, you're hyper focused on this, but remember, this is what I need you to be doing. And so it just refocuses them and helps them to come back to you versus what they got hyper focused on. It's a real good tool just to get their attention, to teach healthy boundaries without causing fear or pain. Now, it comes with a remote. So I'm actually going to teach you how to use this real quick. So there's a power button on the back right here. And when you hold it down, it lights up. You have to hold it down for 3 seconds. So once that is on, you get this screen that comes on. So I'm just going to go through the buttons on the back for you real quickly. This is the power button. You hold it on for 3 seconds and it comes on. You do the same thing, hold it down for it to go off. But the mini educator also has a flashlight on it. So it's really helpful at night for your dog to see or for you to see. So you just click it again and it actually causes a flashlight to come on. And I have to turn this on and then you can see that. So how it comes on is this is actually magnetic and it has a red dot there and a red dot there. And you just touch the two together and it turns the collar on. And my collar must be dead. So I guess I'm not going to show you that right now. But essentially you just tap this once and a flashlight comes on, you tap it again and it's a strobe light so that you can see it, and you tap it again and it goes off. So if you tap it, it's a flashlight. If you hold it down, it's the power button on and off. This little button we're not going to do very much with, but this just shows M and C on the screen, and this little button on the back controls that, the tiny one. M stands for momentary and C stands for continuous. So we want to have the ability to use both momentary and continuous when we're training. It's how long the stem is delivered. So if you use like these two buttons on the side are what deliver your momentary and continuous stem. So the black button is the one you're going to use the most. This is the momentary stem. So if I click that, it's going to deliver a stem for 1/10 of a second. However, I can use this red button to hold it down and it delivers a stem at 3/10 of a second. Or if I just tap it, it's 3/10 of a second, or I can hold it down for up to 10 seconds. That would be an emergency situation. Your dog is about to get into a fight, about to run into the road, and you really need their attention, those types of things. So that's an emergency button only, but you cannot have that button's use if you don't have momentary and continuous on at all times. If you're using this collar and you see that one of those buttons is off, all that you have to do is go to this little button on the back and tap it until you see both of those letters on the screen again. There's a 1D that's flashing. That just means it's a one dog system. This collar actually has this remote actually has the ability to pair to up to 2 of these collars at a time. And then there's also another remote that they have that's 4 collars at a time. For now, we're just going to use 1D for a single dog system. This dial actually, I'm trying to get it in view so you can see it. You can turn this dial and it actually goes all the way up to 100. So essentially your dog has the ability to be corrected 100 times before it's on high. Very simple. You turn it clockwise and it goes up. And if you have one of these at home and you're watching this video because I recommended this video to you so you could learn how to use it, it's really important that you know how to hold the mini educator so that you can use the dial correctly. So we want to hold this in such a way that the screen is facing in your palm and you're holding the dial with your pointer finger and your thumb. This is going to give you the ability to turn this fast, because the quicker that you correct a behavior, the more precise your training is going to be. Or if there's an emergency situation, you need to have your finger on this and be able to tap it. So you will get used to using this and used to handling it. The first week that you're getting used to it, I would just have it in your hand like this all the time and just practice turning the knob and guessing the number that you're at. It's at 100, or it has 100 levels. So you can guess if you turn it 1/4 of the way, you're going to be around 25. If you turn it 1/2 of the way, you're going to be around 50. 3/4 of the way is 75. And obviously the whole way is 100. You can sit in your room at night when you're going to bed and just practice. getting to know what you're turning it up to. And if you're using this long term for your dog, that will be very helpful for you just to be able to feel it and not have to think about what number you're going up to. I always recommend starting on a 5 or 6 and then going up in increments of 2. You can do 3, but just depends on the dog, what the distractions are at the time. Is the dog super attentive? Are they totally distracted? Is it a high trigger environment and they're reaching their threshold? Those things will determine how high you have to go up when you use the remote. So if you're holding it like this with, again, the screen into your palm, you're holding it with your pointer finger and your thumb, you can practice turning it. Now, this is the antenna. The mini educator has a 1/2 mile range. So when you're using this, if your dog happens to get away from you, or if your dog is off leash trained with the collar, all you have to do is know that you have 1/2 mile to use this to get them to come back. Super helpful. This button on the side, it says T, and that stands for test. It does not stand for train. So when you hit this, it's just to test that the collar is working. So every morning when you turn your collar on, because if your dog is wearing one of these, they have to wear them from morning until night. The only time they can be off is if they're in their kennels or you're gone. So other than that, they have to be on if the dog is awake and you're with the dog. Other than that, you can take it off. I always recommend taking it off every time you leave the house or when you go to sleep at night. These points cannot sit on the dog for over, 8 to 12 hours. 12 hours is really the max. But especially if you have a short-haired dog, you need to be moving this every 2 hours for the first 24 to 48 hours that the collar is on the dog, because it could cause skin breakdown if not, and you need to make sure that your dog is not allergic to nickel if you don't already know that. So when you put the collar on the dog, you're going to make sure it's 2 fingers tight. So you can get your fingers under there and you can go like this, but you can barely lift it up. And the reason being is that when you put this on the dog's neck, it needs to stay in place to stay on that muscle that it's supposed to trigger. And because this can rub friction shear sores on the dog. So we want to make sure that it's not rubbing and moving all the time. Again, then every 2 hours, switch it sides. And also if you use the left side one day, you want to use the right side the next, and continue to switch it every single day. So back to the testing button. So let's say I have my collar on. I've put both of the red points, and if you're colorblind, it's just this circle here and this circle here together, and that turns the collar on. This will blink green. This little screen here will blink green if your collar is charged and it's ready to go. Whenever you turn it on, it'll blink yellow if it has 30% or less battery, and it will blink red if it's 20% or less. It is a fast charging system. So when you plug it up for it to charge, just, give it 45 minutes and it's good to go. The good thing about these batteries is that they are not like our cell phone batteries. So if you plug them in, it's not, and leave it plugged in and forget to take it off charge overnight, it's not going to drain the battery. It's not that type of a battery. The only thing I do recommend is whenever you're plugging it into here, this is where you plug the cord in to charge on the remote. And this is where you plug the cord in to charge on the ECollar. So if you are doing that, I just recommend that you don't pull the cords when you pull it out or when you put it in by the cord. Just use the base of the charger and plug it in by that, because after time, those wires can fray a little bit. But if they do, the company usually replaces them for free. So the customer service is just stellar. So whenever you turn the collar on, you can use the test button. Every single morning, you want to hit this test button. And when you do, it will blink red. Anytime you hit a button on it, it does that just to signify that it's being used. But that would essentially vibrate this collar to let you know the collar is paired to the remote. So you would hate to go out and have your dog off leash trained and go out to the park and realize that, oops, you forgot to make sure that your collar's paired. So every morning you're making your coffee or whatever your morning ritual is, going to the restroom, whatever that is. And that's where your collar is going to be plugged in, wherever you go first thing in the morning. So you're going to take it off charge, close these really well. because these are actually waterproof up to 200 feet in the water. So if these are not closed, this no longer becomes waterproof. These places where it charges on the collar and on the remote. So you're going to close those. You're going to pair the red dots, make sure the light comes on to tell you that it's on. And then you're going to hit the test button to ensure that the collar is working properly, that it's paired to the remote. If it is not, just send me a message and I will tell you how to pair it really quickly. It's very simple. So, that's pretty much it for the mini educator. I mean, don't put this on your dog's neck if the dog is wet and it's raining outside. The collar and remote is waterproof, but you would never want to put pressure, points and pressure on a dog's fur and skin when it's wet. That's just not something you would want to do because it can cause pressure sores. So if you are using the mini educator or the micro educator or the 1200, these are really great tools to use just to get your dog's attention, draw healthy boundaries without causing any spinal damage or, any type of pain at all. If you have any questions about the mini educator, the 1200 or the micro educator, please let me know. I'm happy to go over different training tools with you. This is one that we commonly use just because it actually delivers the stim at the time that it's supposed to deliver the stim. When you're buying different collars, you don't know, is this one going to deliver when I hit the button? Because in training, the precision of your training and the excellence of the type of training that you get while you're doing it is determined upon the time in which you deliver the stim. So if you press that button, you need to know and be able to trust that it's being delivered at the rate at which it says it is. And with these collars, I have trained enough dogs and I can assure you that that is the case. My name is Brandy, again with Expert Dog Training. We have Lou, we have Archie, we have Aragorn, we have Amber Lynn up for adoption. They're fully trained dogs. Amber Lynn would make an amazing service dog. Both of the littles could also be service dogs. There's another that would be a great emotional support animal, or they can just be your pets. Also, we have 3 board and train spots open for the rest of the year. So if you're interested in reserving one of those spots, give me a call, 214-480-4806. If there's a topic that I haven't covered that you would like me to cover regarding training your dog, please let me know. I also have Zoom classes available online, as well as a trainer certification program if you're interested in becoming a dog trainer. I love you guys. Thank you for your time. Have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.